Hey, my name is attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III, and I'm with Disability Resolution PA. Sometimes I get the question, well, where should I go live if I'm homeless and seeking disability in the interim while I'm waiting to basically go through my adjudications? That's not an easy question to answer because it depends on a bunch of things. Thing number one is, where are you going to be able to get food? So there's a lot of programs on the west side of Orlando, like Safe Haven or Anchor or Bridges or a neighborhood program that will basically allow you to get food and general shelter and things like that. And then there's programs on the east side, but there's not as many, A, and B, a lot of them aren't live-in programs. You get food, you get shelter, or you'll get food, you'll get clothing, but you won't get shelter. So the west side of town is probably better. Now, there is another side to this, too, which is that you want to make sure that you pick the right spot on the west side of town, because as much as I hate to say it, and it's not my generation, it's definitely the older generations that have this problem, there are some racial tensions that occur on the west and the east, well, everywhere in Orlando. So if you do pick a spot to be homeless, you probably want to pick one where there's not going to be a situation where somebody's going to want to, frankly, seriously harm you. Because of the race of, the color of your skin, so that's just something to consider. The reality of that in Bithlo is kind of the flip side of the reality of that over in, kind of the Silver Star area. Or, for example, so there's a bunch of spots over there versus the east side, which has the Bithlo Christmas area. So just be aware, it does exist. It's unfortunate, but it is the culture we live in, and I don't want it hidden, because if you make a wrong mistake there, it frankly could cost you, hopefully not your life, but it could cost you a serious injury. Or what happens a lot, from what I see on the west side of town, is that there's a lot of female rape situations where a female will be homeless and on the street, and then in the middle of the night she'll get attacked and she'll get raped, and it's terrible. So you want to pick the best neighborhood for you. And you want to basically go ahead and make sure that you're aware of those circumstances that could affect you. The next thing I want you to consider is also where there's likely to be transportation available to you. Bithlo has this little pink-purple bus that they use. That's like a little mini Lynx bus, and that Lynx bus takes people. You got to pay money, and then it picks you up, or you just use your car and it picks you up, takes you to your spot, and drives you to a spot. Which is good. It's really good. However, you over on the west side of town have tons of buses. Buses galore. So transportation out on the west side of town is, I think, a lot easier because you've got a lot more options. So that's something to consider. The next thing I want you to consider is medical treatment. On the west side of town, there's hospitals, there's medical clinics. The Orange Blossom Family Health Clinic is a great one. There's tons of resources that are available to you. On the east side of town, there's far less resources for medical care. Okay, so it is a little bit more rough. I would say the east side of town is definitely more safe. I would say the west side of town is less safe, but there's more amenities, and it's more built up and set up for homeless individuals. So, weigh and balance your options there. I guess other considerations you might want to think about are, if you need a wheelchair, where would be the best place to be? Well, most of the people on the west side of town are living under bridges and on the sides of streets. It's more city-like, built up. It's a little bit easier to travel, whereas on the east side of town, which is your Bithlo Christmas area, a lot of people live in the woods, and using a wheelchair to kind of get into the woods over roots and uneven ground, that can be a little tricky, so just something else to consider. There's a zillion things to go through, but just be aware that these are major factors. All right. A couple of things. If you want the most up-to-date information, or you have a unique question for a unique claim, give me a call, walk you through it. Also, don't post questions online, because it's hard for me to go ahead and follow up with them, because we're getting a bunch of them at this point. It's just, zillions and zillions of people want to know, yada yada. Give me a call, shoot me an email, and try and fill in as many facts as you can, because it helps me with the actual determination as to what's going on with your claim. All right. My name is attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, in Orlando, Orange County Social Security Disability Law Firm. I will catch up with you a little bit later, and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks so much. Bye bye.